Banter fam. Okay, so nice little bounce in the market. I do want to speak about it. So it's just quite crazy to look here that when you have these, let's say, devastating events and things, we got to keep focused because the bottom will be marked in from these events, right? It's how the markets work. Whenever it's the worst things in the world, tend to be the bottoms. And we have to stay focused. And again, just one little bit of settlement, okay, type of thing. You could see how the engulfing candle on Bitcoin is starting on the weekly. This is a good start so far when it comes to a reversal on Bitcoin. This was the damage that was done last week. And look how quickly we are starting to absorb this over here when it comes to Bitcoin. So we're now at $105,000 on Bitcoin. But obviously the exciting thing is the moment that you do see a bit of a spark within the markets, look at the altcoins, guys. We've seen a couple of really strong bounces. Say bouncing 38%, right? Huge. 𝗦𝗵𝗴𝗴𝗏 bouncing big. Sonic bouncing strong. A lot of tokens we've spoken about a lot on this journey. And again, you've got to understand that these big events will create big investment opportunities. However, today, we got to speak about where we are right now. Now, I haven't deployed all of my trading accounts just yet. I want to show you guys today when I'm deploying. I think there is going to be one more little trap, and I think it's the vital buy zones we're looking for, specifically with trades. When it comes to high time frame, I'm going to go through the views again. I think you are running out of opportunity time to know that there are at least 70 to 80% of altcoins that are below bear market levels, right? Below. Okay, this is what's insane. We are back to 2022 when it comes to some of these damn altcoins. So when it comes to investment times with these, pay attention to what is extremely cheap and what is high value and what's really good fundamental projects, right? The time is running out and I want to go through those. Then I do want to speak about the little trap. We did see a nice reversal within the oil price. So this is good. So I want to show you guys this over here as well. This is a nice strong drop. However, this is what I see coming out next. I see a temporary bounce. Why? Because again, we looked at they basically seized the attacks or they stopped this side of attacks. And now apparently Iran has now been a little bit cheeky, right? So what that means for me again is we are getting near the end of this, but there's one or two little speed humps still to go. But this is going to create the amazing bounce and amazing buy zones that we are looking for. So I do think we are very close to that bottom that we saw being in. Okay, now we're going to look at the higher low and the exposure, and let's go through the different scenarios. So guys, again, keep your bull hats on. Keep fighting in these times. The bottom is near. When the bottom is near, the altcoins are going to damn explode, right? I want to show you one more time before we start the show. Look at this Bitcoin dominance. The moment we get excitement in the market, look what happens to the Bitcoin dominance, right? We are now starting to distribute money into the damn altcoins. So we know where to be. We know where to focus. No more wasting time. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
Banter fam, like it up. Who is still along with me? Who is still a believer that we are in the bull, right? This is a temporary speed hump. Again, there's things going on, but we have to pay attention to when the biggest events are happening in the world is when the bottoms are coming in, and it's the biggest life-changing money we can get, right? We have to not be afraid to be here in these times, okay? Even if you have taken losses to get here, okay? You are still here. And again, I told you yesterday, I made a few small changes, and I'm so happy I made those changes. Yesterday was the example where I sold 3% of my spots to 4% of my spot bags of altcoins that were down low, right? That were lower than my entries. I then entered them on 1x leverages. And now those things are in profits. You know what's amazing about that? Is once we get through this next little trap that's in play, okay, and the market starts to push up, I can actually build those positions bigger if I want. And I'm turning something that was a loss, okay, into an opportunity of fresh starts, new trades at the bottom, ride them up, build liquidity up to the upside. So by the time your other positions recover, you are in the money, right? So again, it's two reasons for that. The one is actually using our skills when it comes to getting through the hard times, right? The second one is a reboot of the brain for me to be, okay, I got fresh positions now. I'm not holding on to everything that's in a loss, right? It's to get that momentum and the mental state into the upping. And I'm so happy I did that because, again, you just see how fast things can start to wake up. Now, again, this is just going to be obviously the beginning. We're looking at a way higher time frame move, but we do have to focus this week on really just summing down the entries. This week is about getting in the market in the safest way, surviving all the volatility, okay, and building the positions. After this, we will focus on where we're taking profits and how much money we're going to damn make and how we're going to kind of recover. The main thing this week is get through this patchiness now and get within the market and build your positions, right? That is the important steps over here. So let's go through a few things quickly on the high time frame, because again, the high time frame will just bring that bit of calmness and understanding why you got to kind of fight through. This is a good sign so far, a really good sign, right? This is a point of us nearly engulfing all the damage that was done last week. Okay, not even that. There's one more resistance away. Okay, and we're back at 110, 112. Now, I also had a look. I see that there's up to $12 billion of liquidations for Bitcoin pumping to 112. Okay, so again, all this uncertainty has now created a lot of shorters within the market. Okay, and that liquidity is just building bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the top side, which means likely when we go there again, right? Remember, we've got to get to this patch now, but once we get there again, it's very likely we're going to see a big explosion through the all-time highs. The problem we've seen with both all-time high breaks that we've had now over the last couple of months is we just popped through and we never continued, right? And then we popped through and we never continued, right? We are going to soon get to a point where we pop through and we just rally again. Very similar to this phase over here, right? Where Bitcoin is sitting at the previous all-time highs, where we actually start distancing ourselves. And again, every bit of hard work we are putting in now into building trades and investments and these type of things, you got to keep in the back of your mind, we are preparing for that 135, 145 Bitcoin price, right? Not only that, we obviously also, and this is me, and I don't know if it's me alone anymore, because apparently it's crazy to be calling alt season for a long period of time. I think it's incredibly smart because we'll actually catch it. Remember, you only need, you know what's cool about trading and investing, okay, is you can be wrong 90% of the time, okay, and you just have to be right 10% of the time when you're rich. Right? That is the crazy stats when it comes to the gains that you get and how quick this market starts to move at any point. It's really the true fact of this. Again, ask those who bought in 2017 and rode the 2021 bull market, right? They probably made a lot of mistakes, but those who survived that period and went to 2021, I saw many people financially retire, right, in those phases. And I only just came into 2021. I wasn't even there yet. And I was like, damn, I want to be like you guys, right? And that's what makes me believe that everything I did in 2021 all the way to coming to now, this will be the cycle for me to plan for retirement. That should be for all of us, that we paid the lessons over the last couple of cycles, okay, to reach this one over here. The next sign over here, which is obviously good, is obviously seeing that as a bit of a start of a redness to the Bitcoin dominance, okay, showing us that once we get through this little patch of uncertainty, we should see a nice little strong push into the altcoins. Again, what we are currently fighting for a lot, right, is the top of the Bitcoin dominance. We know that this thing, and again, the biggest sign is the monthly stochastic, right? That thing at the top is just showing us that at some point we will have months and months and months of distribution of Bitcoin into the altcoins, okay? And we are just yet again getting there. And zooming in over here, we could see that we are now starting on the weekly. And obviously zooming in a little bit more, we could see that we are at a point where we need to start breaking some trends. We're not far, right? Start breaking the short-term trends and then starting to breaking the bigger trends. And then we can start preparing for a real distribution. And just a reminder, going back to this phase over here, this was the pop where ETH went from $1,300 back to 2,800. There was a 100% trade that happened literally 2 months ago. Okay, that happened. Don't forget that. And the time before that, don't forget that we saw a massive rally of altcoins where ETH also went from $1,700 to $4,000 again, right? And we saw Solana go from the 80s all the way up to $200 to $300 again. Okay, so yes, it's been a hard year, but don't forget the successful pumps that happened in between that. There was little phases where we saw up to 100 to 200% gains within alts. Okay, we are getting near that phase again, when at any point the distribution is happening. And then obviously where the dream season comes is when we actually go full parabolic to the downside. Remember, I'm expecting Bitcoin dominance to drop to around 45% in alt season. Okay, so it gives you a bit of an idea that if there's trillions of dollars in Bitcoin, I'm expecting at least $1 trillion to 1.5 out of Bitcoin to come into the altcoins. That's excluding what gets bought from the retail and the market itself too, right? So that's good. Going here to high time frame on altcoins. Here's altcoins over here. Altcoins are actually in a healthier position than Bitcoin. If you look at where Bitcoin was over here, Bitcoin's looking strong, okay, but it had this kind of last line support here, these areas over here. And there's actually a lot of support on Bitcoin. There's support at 96, there's support at 92, there's support at 91, there's CME gaps. There's a lot of reasons, right? But if you look here, we are at the perfect 618 when it comes to the altcoins. Look at that, right? The perfect area of a healthy correction. Okay, and this for me, if this is the bottom that we are getting ready to mark out, it is really getting us ready for a push up to the all-time highs that we saw in the area of November. That's the next move. Now, again, what I want you to also understand is even catching this move over here, we are still considered early to the rest of the market. The rest of the market is going to come in the phase of when things are going parabolic and when things are above all-time high areas over here. But if you zoom out to the high time frame, you've got to realize that that ain't a bearish chart. Did get tough. And we have been fighting all the way to support. You could see we are down there. And whenever you are down here, it's the most uncomfortable time to buy or build positions or even stay within crypto. Okay. And this, again, we got to change the mindset. People think that this is comfortability when the markets are moving to get in. Okay. It's not. The comfortability is when you're fishing in the uncomfortability. Okay. And then it becomes very easy for you. But this, again, is showing us a nice bull flag in play over here. And secondly, we're preparing every single day, every single week. We've gone through many weeks together now of hard workshop, okay, for the push up to the 2 trillion mark over there, right? And again, it's going to be distributed to the best altcoins. I don't think every altcoin in the world is going to have an alt season. I don't. I think the highest ones are going to be the ones that have the great fundamentals. I think the blue chips are the fact that blue chips in all categories are cheap right now should give you a very big understanding that money is going to be pretty easy to be made in the bull market, right? If you choose the top 5 gaming, just go look at the top 5 gaming with stats, with this, with that, and the dollar cost into those. The top 5 in AI, the top 5 in the Solana ecosystem, the ETH ecosystem, right? If you just accumulate the top 5 of all of those, everything is so damn cheap. You're going to make a killing because these are going to be the altcoins that are going to rise the strongest. You will have a couple of little ones that will pop in between, but you don't have to gamble anymore, right? The gambling comes when the market has popped and gone parabolic and you're kind of fishing for what's left. That's when the gambling comes, right? Everything's gone. I got to kind of go fish into this bucket now. Where now you have the opportunity to get any bucket that you want. And best narratives, best this. So be smart about it and keep accumulating. Again, we cannot be bearish over here. We have to stay in the game, get through this, and we're going to reach the other side. Okay, so let's go through a couple of things. I spoke about this yesterday. I spoke about this being the recovery, right? I said there's 2 plays. I said the one, they were going to nuke us, right? Basically send us down strong to that 92, 94. Okay, or we were going to pop. So this was the first scenario over here, and the second scenario was we're going to go. Nonetheless, both of them were indicating for me, just sit on hands a little bit, right? So again, what did I do? I went and I sold some of spot positions and I opened up 1x leverages just so that I have them in these areas, right? I took advantage of those positions. The second thing that I did is any of the positions that I was actually either in profit or not too bad, I freed up 3-4% capital for trading accounts because I really believe I can catch a strong trading streak from the bottom. And I know that trading certain periods of the year, I would say about 10% to 15% of the year, outperforms investing, right? Investing, you don't really make much until there's big bull runs, but you don't really get flushed out so easily. Trading, you get flushed out a little bit more. However, trading is more powerful, I would say 10 to 20% of the year. And when it is more powerful is when you're catching bottoms. When you can catch bottoms and ride them up, that's when they become incredibly powerful. So for me, it was a decision of what am I not really on a loss on? Let me free up a bit of cash and let me have some cash going up. And again, a couple, I've been filling up a lot in the back end too. But again, Bybit account, I'm ready. I'm sitting with 25K over here sitting. I'm sitting with 50K in the WeX account that I got stopped on, right? I'm sitting with another 150K and another 200K in a 𝗏𝗏𝗏 account and another account as well, right? So I'm busy just sitting and a lot of them are in cash right now. They're in cash because we're going to wait for the next play and I'm going to go through them now. But what we started to see was that dip off that I spoke about yesterday happened very quickly. You could see how it dipped. Let's actually zoom in there so you could see it. It actually happened pretty fast. Dropped straight into where I was saying we're going to drop at any point, a higher low, and then we're going to pop. But it just shows you how fast this thing's going to reverse when things are good again, guys. How fast are things going to turn? You cannot lose steam now and allow it to chop you up because look how quick it damn returned and how fast it shifts and moves over there. Okay, and again, it's an important thing to understand. So let's go through the plays for today. These are the plays that I'm looking at. I do see one more trap. Now let's go through this, and this is going to be, remember, the next pullback, and there's 2 versions. The one, the market explodes from here. The other one is the trap, right? A pullback on either of them, this pullback or this pullback, I am going all in on my trade accounts, right? All in, massive, massive, massive. But let's speak about the trap over here for a second. Why I think, again, we're pretty close to not having a lower low. I do think we're getting Yesterday's bounce was pretty convincing, right? But is this price over here on oil? Now, oil had a strong rejection. I think it's a rejection we needed, okay? However, I think there is a relief bounce incoming. And if I had to take it into, again, I am a very terrible fundamentalist and I don't really care about news and stuff too much. Again, sending lots of love around the world for what's happening, okay? But when it comes to these type of things, I'm semi-involved. But what I've kind of put together, right, is there's a bit of things going on with two countries. US have now, they stepped in, they came in. Then there was a very weird attack yesterday that basically happened. Then they kind of settled, okay? And now Iran are currently like pushing in again, right? Type of thing. Now, again, it just showed us yesterday, and I saw it with the markets already. When we saw that the second or the attack that was happening yesterday, we saw that the markets were starting to bounce. And I was like, something's not aligning here. For what we are seeing and what's happening on the chart are going against each other. Something is not right over here. And it's quite funny how a few hours later, we start to see, okay, there's a little bit of peace possibly being made, right? Then what it shows over here now is something is going to get salty for a little while longer. This is what the chart's saying, okay? There's going to be a little bit more salt. Why? Because this drop over here, it did break good levels, right? It broke incredible levels. However, there's a retest to come. So what that means for me, okay, is there's going to be a little bit of, I don't know, salt, the way I call it, right? A little bit more, right? And then there's going to be a settle or something at any point is going to just relax the market completely, okay? Again, on high time frames, this grew too quickly. That's why we knew at some point it was going to come to an end, right? Sustainability grows slowly. It doesn't grow in one straight line to the upside. This is pure fear. Let's call it manipulation, call it whatever you want, right? That's your opinion, okay? But nonetheless, this has dropped trend. It is telling me there is a short-term strength coming within this over here, and then there's going to be a distribution to the downside, right? Same thing when it comes to stock market. Stock markets actually bounced hard. Look at that, right? However, they bounced straight into resistance. Okay, so again, a big decision is going to be made today. We're going to have a nice directional move. I'm pretty sure by the end of this week, we're going to have a bottom and the market's going to be rallying up again, right? But let's quickly go through this. So the next thing over here now is we're at resistance. So the way I see it as a chartist is a drop here, and then we go. Okay, so again, both charts are telling me here, temporary pullback into hot zones, thing gets settled, and from there, we start to explode. So therefore, coming back to the Bitcoin chart over here, this is my first play over here. Is that we're actually going to, remember, we are sitting right at resistance right now, and there is literally 12, I think it's even up to 20 billion, but let's just write it over here. There is 12 to 20 billion of liquidation sitting in this area over here, right? Of those 111 to 112. Do we have enough steam to go straight up? Unless we have a really big settlement in the next few hours, I think there's a little pause and then we go. However, we must not be upset about this because why? I'm sitting in some cash, right? I'm sitting some cash, okay, to load up on a few over here, okay? And that's why for me, there's going to be maybe a little cool down in the market. There's going to be a drop, a little bit more heat. I think Bitcoin's going to drop back to around the 102 to 103, and then we're going to pop. Then we're going to pop, break trend, and then go for the 20 billion of liquidations. That is my first play that I'm seeing over here. The second one is, let's go full bull, right? Let's go from here, full bull to the moon. Let's go, right? This is what it would look like, because the reason why I'm saying I don't want to pre-jump the gun and just saying we're going up right now. Again, by the end of the week, we're going up. That's my views, right? But when it comes to where we are now, we're sitting this resistance over here. We're sitting with the trend resistance as well. So there's quite a bit of resistance over here, and there's a little bit of an overheat on the 4-hour RSI sitting over here too. Okay, but however, if this market wants to continue just screwing people off, right, it might want to just rip straight through here. If it rips straight through here, guys, we are going to go from here to the areas of around the 109, 110, then a shakeout, then a pop. That's why for me, the best thing to do right now is to hold. I ain't selling any of my positions. I ain't selling any long term. I ain't selling anything, right? But however, any cash that I'm holding, okay, I'm holding a little bit longer. I'm holding either for this retest over here, or I'm holding for this buy over here. Okay, this one over here. This again is my first play, and that one is my second play, but both are valid, both can work. Now again, when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance, it's showing us that when this pump happens, altcoins have a lot of catch up to do. I want to zoom out again, and this is what I was telling you guys yesterday. I said, how the hell can I be bearish? How can you be angry with Sheldon for being bullish for this year? How? It just makes no sense, right? The money will be made again, but you can't fight with me for being bullish in this market. Look at this. Look how far down your altcoins are, and I'm this only dumbass screaming, stay in, right? There's a reason for that, okay? There's a reason for that I can't sit and turn bearish. Even if I was bullish here, right? Look at where we are. This is AVAX. This is a real product, real token that's been building incredibly strong over here too. I cannot, right? However, it's not a bumpy ride. If you were Sheldon, if you're with me on this journey, I promise you one thing. I promise you we're going to retire together and we are going to kill it together, right? And it's going to be amazing. One thing I can also promise you is put your damn helmet on. We're going, you know, there's the road. The problem is if you follow the road, you're following all the systems that the whole world follows. We're going to go off-road. Okay, so we're going to go that way. We're still going to get there. We're probably going to get to the goal quicker than the rest of them, but we're going to go that way. But that one comes with hail and speed humps and sandstorms and this, and it happens. But we are going to get there way faster than the rest of the route. The rest of the world, you could see it, guys. Why did you create fear yesterday, saying that all of this is happening and the market starts pumping? It is manipulation. It is not right the way this works within the world. When things are the worst, the market reverses and goes up. When things are the best, the market comes down, right? What is shown to the world versus what is actually happening in reality is the opposite. And that's why I choose to put the helmet on and go that way, right? We go that way. It's uncharted territories, okay, but we go, right? Here is the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, same thing, showing us when the market's pushing up now, we're seeing strength in the altcoins. However, we are at a lot of support. So what does that mean for me? It's a temporary bounce and then a drop. Okay, so aiming back into the first strategy that I showed you. Now, again, if I look at normal TA and fund and normal rules, right? Look at this over here when it comes to the ETH chart. ETH has pumped straight into the trend. You see that? We lost the trend. We came down into support. Now we're on the other side of the trend. I can't be bullish just yet. When will I be bullish? Breakthrough here. Then I'm bullish over there. Okay, or because again, I'm not gonna deny that was a very good bounce, strong bounce, very good bounce. The next one is that. Okay, so ETH, I'm waiting for these two twos. I'm also not ruling out. I am not ruling out us going a little bit lower if Bitcoin does want to really trap the market, right? I'm not ruling out this either. Let's just go through it quickly. I'm not ruling out. Again, this is damn bullish, me bullish than ever. Okay, here, even a shakeout to here. Let's say things get a little bit more toasty out there. Okay. Keep that in mind. However, stay with me this week because we're going to get our buy zones. I think in the next 2 days, we're in, right? We're in 2 to 3 days, we're going. Here, when it comes to Solana, a lot of resistance. We're not breaking trends yet. So my buys on Sol are still sitting in the mid-30s, 130s, right? Sui, good bounce. Actually broke short-term trend. The retest is at 2.6. So everything is just telling me, a little bit. But start preparing. Start getting your trading techniques ready. Start getting what you're going to buy, what you're going to trade, how much money you're going to use. Start building the plan. Start packing the damn bags. You're going on holiday soon, right? That's how you got to think of it. Look at Injective over here. In resistance. Their support. So the bounce is good. Okay? But cool off and then explosion. Right? So it makes sense. Couple of really big ones to pay attention to. Look at this on XRP, actually. If you're XRP lover, I think the next pullback's going to be great for you. This $2 mark. For the long run, I was looking, there's a very big bull flag here on XRP. I think your next targets, and let's use a couple of things. I know there's this technique that many use, gives you an idea of the breakout, okay, to the $4.5 route. Okay, let's actually leave that there and see if we can find a bit of confluence here with my tools now. So let's go to the 1.618. Let's see where this is. 1 Y. Okay, 1.618. Okay, pop that in. Oh, there we go. It's telling you that, hey, any buys you're accumulating here on XRP, the $4.4 range is your targets, right? I think one of the biggest specials on the market right now is Doge. But if we zoom in over here, it's straight into resistance now. It's not a buy just yet. So again, what am I expecting? Temporary drop off over here, and then we go. Then we get pushed into the upside and we start rallying very strong. Guys, a couple of things over here too as well. Remember, we are literally hours away from my first 𝗦𝗏𝗏𝗏 2.0 school event. Right? Incredible. So here is this over here, how I got to $1 million. It's in 4 hours. You can still join me today. Go below in the description. It's a brand new school, never been seen. It's incredible. You could say I built it in the bear market because I know the method of how this world works. Join over here. Click on the school over here. Again, we are also giving away nice prizes when it comes to 𝗬𝗡𝗃. And I want to show you guys over here on BTCC. Where is our BTCC? Here we go. Guys, we got 10%. I think for school, we actually have a 15% bonus, right? For the school link. If you sign up, you get 15% deposit bonus on first time deposit up to $10,000, right? In bonus. Incredible. Join BTCC and 𝗬𝗡𝗃 and come and have a free school this afternoon, 4 hours away. Join me in school, I promise you. This is the time to learn these things before the market pops. If you are not prepared for it, you are going to be caught off guard very quickly. Okay, so shout out to them over there. Let's jump in again over here. Go through a couple more. Here's Algo. Algo is sitting with a lot of resistance. You have resistance here, resistance here. So again, even if we go a little bit higher, pop like this, and then we get going. Remember, the bull scenario is this. Boom. Come down. Then we go. We got it. We got either of the major scenarios. AVAX, Render, TON, Link, Algorand, Cardano, Doge, XRP, Injective, Sui, Sol, ETH. These are the tokens I would be accumulating. Guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Let's get prepared for the bounces. Let's fight the next few days for entries, and let's get ready to make money again. Love you lots. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. Goodbye.